And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. And not only is it Friday First, it is, if I can get up there, the 1 year anniversary of Friday First. 52 episodes in, haven't missed a week, knock on wood. That is unusual for me, so I'm going to celebrate it. And to celebrate it, I am bringing on a special guest this time, a good friend of mine. You may know her from Comic Book Weekly. This is Kat Calamia, Comic Uno. Hey, Kat.
Hello. Again, congratulations on 1 year. Constantly doing this video, which is honestly really cool, and I hope you get another 5+ years.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And thank you so much. I mean, you know me, you know that I'm notorious for starting and stopping stuff, and not being as consistent. So I'm pretty proud of this accomplishment. It's a cool thing. So whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna do a little bit of a kind of a change up of the format that you all are used to. Um, Typically, I do like a few recaps. I kind of go into a lot of detail about that, and then I have a long list of books. So we're going to truncate that a little bit. I did read five of the first issues from last week already, so I will talk about those briefly. Kat, jump in if you read
Yep,
any of them, and
I've read
then
all my
we
books. We'll see if they overlap.
yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll at least get one or two. And then we're instead of doing like the list of like every first issue that's coming out, we've narrowed it down to a top five. So we're going to talk about those a little bit, and then I'll just quickly mention some other books here and there. So we'll get into it with the recaps. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Masters of the Universe, TMNT, Turtles of Grayskull. I know you did not read this, Cat, so I will be very brief with
I
this
got to
one.
hear about this one though. Did it do well? Because I know Masters of the Universe, TMNT, you've been enjoying, but Masters of the Universe, it's been in and out for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, every once in a while there will be a good Masters of the Universe book. They are few and far between, unfortunately. Um, this one was this one was weird, and I saw some other comments that kind of I felt the same way, which was basically this felt like you were reading like a seventh issue of a
Oh wow.
long running series or something. I understood what they were going for because by the end you understand that like there's this sorcerer that is kind of traveling through time trying to prevent the thing that happened at the beginning of the book because it's really bad. But when you read it, you're reading like two-thirds of the story that is just like in the middle of action. Like you're supposed to know every single character that's on the page, everything that has happened, how they've come together, all this stuff, and it's very confusing. Even for me, that I know these characters very well, and I was lost. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be continuing with it. I do think it's a really cool concept. If you're just a fan of both franchises, seek it out just for the collector aspect of it. But yeah, so that's it. That's all I got to say about that. All right, we'll talk about this one. Did you read this Power
I
Rangers?
did read this one, which was interesting because it it definitely leaned a little bit more on the Usagi side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, but I think you're gonna get a lot more out of it if you like both franchises. Unlike, speaking of other TMNT crossovers, I thought that written by the same creator, I thought the TMNT one was a little bit more like it doesn't really matter what you like. This is definitely leaning more on the Japanese side of stuff, which was cool. It was very different for Power
Yeah.
Rangers, but
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's definitely like if you know Usagi very well, you probably really like this, and if you like both, you're probably really like this. But as a just a Power Rangers fan, it's kind of a little bit of a disconnect, I guess, because the art style is very different than what you're used to from a Power Rangers book. I thought the characters were pretty close to what they normally are, just like a cartoony version of them, basically. So but it wasn't a bad story. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm glad it was just like a one shot though. I
yeah,
don't
I
think I would
wouldn't
like
pick up an
one of
issue
yeah,
2.
right, exactly. But as a one shot, it's fine. I like these mashups because they do kind of cater to two different audiences, and sometimes they'll pull you into the other franchise. TMNT and Power Rangers kind of did that for me as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you actually started reading Power Rangers, I think, because of that book.
Right, exactly. So you never know with those kind of things. Maybe this will get some people to check out Usagi. So
I think it would. I think
yeah,
and also I think the art style fit pretty well for I think obviously it's a different artist, so the art style
yeah,
fit pretty well for it.
yeah, yeah. And speaking of TMNT, if you're a TMNT fan, Usagi's kind of crossed over with TMNT here and there, so you might want to check this out. All right. The next book is The Manchurian. Did you pick this up by chance?
I didn't pick it up, but this is like
Okay.
the Terry Dotson
Yeah.
series. Know of it.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to talk about this one wasn't necessarily because of the book itself, because I thought it was okay, but the second half was better than the first half. The first half was a little bit confusing and all over the place, but I like the concept that they're going for. This is a line of books. I think there's five of them, and they're all one shots, and they're all told from uh, writers of different like ethnic backgrounds, and they're telling the story from the perspective of like their culture in a popular franchise. So in this one,
Oh,
it
that's
is
fun.
in this one it's a Chinese James Bond type character. So it's a spy, but instead of like the kind of spying that like James Bond does, it's more corporate espionage and how they have it. The writer kind of pulled from stuff like The Americans, and so it was
Right.
like a bunch of operatives for the Chinese government, just kind of living life normally in the United States and kind of reporting back every once in a while about like technological advancements and stuff so China could keep up. Very fictional take on it, but it was interesting to see like a Chinese James Bond basically. And I know there's like I think there's going to be a reverse Indiana Jones one, different stuff like that. So it's a really cool concept. So
So are you gonna pick up more, or do you feel like your like one issue was enough?
I think it'll depend on the story. Like if it's
Indiana
if the
Jones.
concept's cool enough for me, yeah. If it's something I'm into or something like that. So like Indiana Jones, probably not. But like I can't remember what the other ones were. But if it's one that appeals to me in my fandom, yeah, I'd probably check it out. So I don't know who the other creators are either. I just know like I know one of them's from a Muslim perspective, one of them's from a black perspective. I did, and then the Indiana Jones one, I can't remember what the other one is, but yeah, really cool concept though. All right. Next is Knights versus Samurai issue one.
This one wasn't even on my
I
radar.
Yeah, it wasn't mine either. I only know about it because of the show last week, and
Mhm.
I actually somebody had commented and said it was like somebody's masterpiece that they've been working on since they were a teenager, and they finally years and years later got to bring it to life and all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I thought I'd give it a shot. It was a pretty solid story. It starts off with this guy who becomes a knight because he takes down a dragon. It's like the last dragon, and him and his twin brother take it down, but his twin brother dies in the process. So now he's all alone. And then they've found out a new threat on the east in the east, and so now they're traveling over there, and they come across the samurai, and so that's where your story kicks off. There's a lot more in between that, mostly with him and kind of trying to figure out his place in this world and trying to be like, I'm not the grand hero everybody thinks I am, but I want to serve my kingdom, but I'm leaving my wife to fend for herself and all this stuff. So it was pretty solid. The art was decent, but at times it seemed a little uh I don't want to say cartoony, but a little soft for the concept that they were going for. So that was a little weird for me. It was a
Which is
little bit of a
interesting because the
disconnect
cover
there.
is so poppy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I expected that kind of art style inside, but it's a much softer kind of more fun vibe to the art, which was a little weird. But
Mhm.
aside from that, it was a pretty solid first issue. I don't know if I'll continue with it just because I don't know that I loved it that much, and I've got so many books. Like we were talking about on Comic Book Weekly how many books have been coming out these past few weeks, and this week is like such a huge week. I almost didn't get it, but for this
Yeah, no,
show, I
there's
just
a
went ahead
lot
and
of books this week. I mean, me personally, I got like 17 books, and I was like trying to finish
yeah.
everything.
Right, yeah, it was well over 20 for me, so it's like, man, I don't know. But, yeah, it'll depend on the week if I continue with this one, but it was pretty solid, though. Alright, and the last recap is, Revolution 9, issue 1 from Mad Cave. Did you get this one?
No, I didn't get this one.
No. Okay. Okay. This
Although
is a
Netflix had
newer.
some good stuff, so I'm
Yeah.
curious about this.
Yeah, this is a new universe. Mark London is writing this. He created the concept. It seems like it's based on one of their really early series, RV9, which was a mini series. It's the same characters, same kind of concept. So I think they took a long break. I think that came out like 4 or 5 years ago. So they took a long break, and now they're launching this whole universe with this character, and they're like part of this ancient order, at the order of nine. So there's like nine, divisions of these people, and this division is focused on like assassins. And this woman, Velveteen, she is kind of rebelling against the movement and trying to get out of it, but they're trying to hunt her down. And so it's this whole complex thing. So we're in the mini series. This guy that she was in love with got killed, and this other guy got killed, and all the people around her. She was tricked into killing her own twin sister, and all this stuff. So there's a lot of drama behind it, and now it's her against this entire organization that is trying to kill her on the daily. So. Pretty interesting start to it. I think it recapped it really well, gave you all the information you needed. I felt connected to the character. I wanted to know more about her. I wanted to continue her story. So it did a good job with the first issue, and it makes me want to pick up the second issue. So
That's always what's great about doing the show and
yeah,
doing those issue ones is that you find something you might not originally picked up, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna try out that next issue now.
yeah, exactly. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let me. I think that's all the recaps we're going to do. So we're going to get into the first issues that are coming out next week. And I'm just going to. I don't usually do this live, so give me just a second. I'm usually edit all this stuff out, but I'm going to change the background here for a second. I'm going to switch us up.
I like the
Uh,
little circles.
yeah. Let's
I don't know
see.
if that was a you thing or a StreamYard thing.
It's a me thing.
That's
And then
cool.
I'm going to, yeah. So let's see. We'll do this. And there we go. Yeah, so the people watching this don't usually get to see that whole process of me switching stuff around. But yeah, I made a special one since we were going to have two of us on here. So a little bit of a different little layout here. I like that you can customize the layouts in StreamYard now, and like I just like move stuff around until I got it to where I wanted it, and then I built an overlay to go with it. That's pretty cool. I remember when we first started using StreamYard,
Right.
where it was just like literally just one thing you could do. You couldn't move anything. It was just that's your screen.
And now they're like, all right, we gotta up the ante, which they have. They've always been improving. So
Yeah. So all right. So the first book we're talking about is Storm issue number 1. And the latest book, latest solo book from the whole new launch of the X-Men, or
a lot
relaunch,
of
reboot,
solos.
whatever you want to call it. Yeah. We were talking about anybody that missed Comic Book Weekly this past week over on either Comic Book Corner 2.0 or Comic Frontline or Comic Book Weekly, whatever. You you can find it either way. We talked about all the X books that they're putting out and all the solo books and whether that's a good idea and all that stuff. So it was a pretty cool conversation there. We might rehash it a little bit here, but as
That's
far
okay.
as Storm goes, yeah, she's all over the place right now. She's just showed up in Avengers, and now she's getting her own book. What do you think about this? Is this one
I'm
that you're
There's so
interested
many
in?
books out, honestly, so I probably will skip this one. I like Storm. If I've heard, wow, this is like the best Storm book, I'll read it. But there's been plenty of Storm ongoings that have just kind of been there. So I think I'm gonna skip it.
Gotcha. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I'm not familiar with this creative team at all. I'm
Yeah,
not
me
even going to
either.
try to pronounce that. But, so I don't have that to go on. I do like Storm. Um, I don't know how many books I'm getting next week. Probably a lot. I think
I'm
it's a
getting a
lot.
lot, so I'm sure you are, and it's a
Yeah,
lot
if
of
you're getting a lot,
yeah,
yeah,
and there's a lot of like just issue threes, issue fours. There's not from what I remember, there's not a ton of like issue ones as we're talking about.
yeah,
It's just a lot of continuation
right.
things you're already reading.
Yeah, exactly, and that it was a little harder, week to put together. I've got some honorable mentions I'll show up later,
Mhm.
but as far as, like, big number ones, the 5 that we're talking about really are the biggest ones that are coming out. So it is a little bit of a lighter week for new books, which is odd because we've been getting a ton of new books lately. But,
And next
for
month, yeah, All In and all that, but I will say, because I was doing my list for, my most anticipated, there's 5 weeks next month, so it makes it a little bit easier on the haul, so they
Yeah.
spread out a little bit more.
Yeah, no, that's good. Maybe hopefully they'll split it up and we don't just get, like, 2 weeks where it's, like, 30 books,
From what I
which
saw, I think it was split up pretty nicely.
that's good. I remember I don't remember if it was, like, earlier this year, or if it was late last year, but there was, like, 1 month where there was nothing for, like, 3 weeks in a row, and then
Yeah,
2 weeks, it was just, like, 25, 26 books. It
I
was
remember that. It
insane.
was like 2 months,
Yeah,
like, and I was like, "Well, what is this?" And I was not a fan because
right?
like, I hate having, like, 5 books and then
No.
having, like, 15.
Yeah, exactly. So, for this one, I'll probably try it out because I try all this stuff out. I mean, this is I'm actually logged in, so that is actually on my pull list. That's
There
my
you go.
my little pull it. So I probably will try it out. But I'm gonna give it a possibly good. I usually rate these. I have a like a little 4 rating system. That's my lowest one because I just don't have a whole lot of hope in it, but just there's a glimmer. So I'm gonna give it a possibly good. But I don't have high hopes for it just because I've tried Storm solo stuff in the past, and for whatever reason, it just never resonates with me. I love her in a group. I love her in the X Men. I love her in the Avengers. I love her leading those teams. But when she goes solo, there's just something about it that just never appeals to me. Maybe this one will be the different one. We'll see. All right. Next, we'll talk about Birds of Prey number 14 because it's the start of a brand new arc. Um,
We'll
Last
see.
issue ended that whole traveling through the weird places arc, and yeah, we'll see if we continue. Kat and I joke with Mike because we this is one of the books that we read just because we like all the characters in it. It's not that we love the stories or anything, but we're just like Batgirls was the last one that was like that for us. So, and Mike's just like, I ain't reading that.
I don't blame him at all, but yeah, because Barbara's in it, I just don't think I could drop it, but it's, yeah, not our favorite book.
Yeah, and you also got Cassandra Cain in there as
Mhm.
well. I love her. I like Black Canary. Big Bart has really grown on me through this series. So yeah, so it looks like Cassandra goes undercover in this one, and Grace Choi and Onyx have to bust her out. So yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know how to feel about it.
I
Yeah.
like Grace Choi, we'll see if she's fun, but they just add too many characters. They're like, "Oh, I just got used to this team, now there's more people."
Yeah, it's literally I mean, not a completely new cast every arc, but they
Almost.
definitely they get rid of 2 or 3 characters and bring 2 or 3 more in every single time, and it's just it is a little hard to follow, but at the same time it's good like if you really like one of the characters that they bring in, you can just skip the arcs before that and just like jump in when they come along. So, I don't know. I'm going to give it a potentially good because,
You
you
never
know,
know.
I've yeah, I've liked some of the issues, so we'll see. All right, next. Oh, not that. We'll save that one for last. We'll talk about Batman issue 153. This is
Another
the first.
all first All In, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Another all in kind of. Uh, I don't know what you want to call that. It's a branding. It's just a branding, but it's obviously going to be a new arc or whatever. Is it a new creative team too, or
I
no?
think it's the
Still Chip
same. Yeah.
Zdarsky. Yeah, so new arc or at least a new story that's not continuing from something previous. Um, Shocking murder of one of Gotham's greatest citizens. The Dying City is the name of the arc that's starting with this one. And Batman's the only one that can solve it, so it's a brand new murder mystery for Batman. I do like that. That's like getting away from like all the big heavier stuff that's been going on and just kind of getting back to the basics of what Batman is. So maybe it'll be maybe it'll be a good one from Chip with this one with the
I
story.
hope so. It's been a while. I feel like it's been since the first arc that I really liked this run, but hopefully this is
Yeah,
a good jumping on point and gets, like you said, gets back into the groove because it did that last arc before Absolute Power. I thought it ended in an interesting spot.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't remember where it ended, but I do remember liking it. Refresh my memory. How did you said it
It
ended in a
ended
good
with
spot?
the mansion, like that he has his own new mansion now. The
Oh yeah,
family,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Right. Yeah, I like that. I like anything that's bringing the Bat family together, and I think we've talked about it before, where the webtoon kind of showed that people really do like that family dynamic with the Bat family. So I hope they do more of that. This doesn't seem like that's that story, but maybe in the future.
I
I
feel like
could be wrong.
also like the webtoon, I'm surprised they don't like do more of like just single issue comics with it. Try to get the Wednesday Warriors into it.
Right? Yeah. I mean it's such a good comic too. If anybody watching this has not checked out the webtoon, what is it? Batman and his amazing. How's it?
It's Batman
Batman?
Family something.
Yeah, Family Adventures or something. Wayne Family Adventures. That's what it is. Go check it out on webtoon. Fantastic. All right, let's talk about Hyde Street issue one. This is one of the ones that I know you were looking forward to from Ghost Machine.
I hope I like it. It's the first one I
Yeah,
think that was like, okay, it wasn't my favorite out of that grouping, but it was the first
right.
one that I was like, this is more interesting to me than Rook and Red Coat. And I know everyone loves those books, but those are just not my vibes. I hate
Sure.
post-apocalyptic stories. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I knew when I read those books that they probably weren't your thing, but the other books, like you said, the Hornsby and Halo, this one, Rockefellers, all that stuff, I think we all agreed on those looked pretty cool as well. Um, this is Jeff Johns and Ivan Rice, so the it's a top notch creative team at least. It's gonna be gorgeous. Oh my god, I love Ivan Rice's art.
yeah, no, same. And they're such a great creative team together. Because
Yeah,
all of the Ghost Machine books to this point have been Jeff John books too, which has been interesting.
yeah,
Because there's other books that aren't Jeff Johns, but still, we're getting another Jeff Johns book.
right. Yeah, he's getting all his stuff out there first. I guess is how it's going. But it's the right time of year for this one to come out too. So I mean, very timely with Halloween on the horizon and stuff. And this isn't usually the kind of story that I would gravitate towards, but I've been so impressed by the Ghost Machine books that I literally cannot wait for this book to come out.
Because like
Um,
serial killers, I'm guessing with Hyde Street,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah, and I actually like that
yeah.
kind of storytelling too. Like I'm a big fan of like Dexter and Mindhunter and
Sure.
stuff like that. I love those kind of shows. So even though it's not really my genre, it is still kind of up my alley. So I'm kind of excited for that. I'm gonna give it a promisingly good, which is my next to highest rating. Because again, Ghost Machine has not let me down so far. So I don't think it will this time either. All right, and then finally we've got the DC All In Special issue one, kicking everything off here. We got a bunch of creators. We got Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson, Wes Craig, Daniel Sampier, Dan Mora. So all kinds of fantastic creators involved with this.
Yeah, no,
But
this is gonna be huge. This is gonna be I don't love event books, as you know, so I'm
yeah,
curious to see if it's gonna be more leaning towards event. Is it gonna be telling us about the world, which I'm guessing it's gonna be telling us how
yeah,
absolute power is connected to this absolute run and how this ultimate universe exists, blah blah blah. And Scott Snyder loves that stuff. So, and even Joshua Williamson. But I would say out of all the all in stuff, I don't know if I'm most excited for this issue, but I'm excited for this to start because I haven't been this excited for DC Comics in a long time. Most of their initiatives are just like, oh, okay, whatever, another initiative since the New 52. But this feels
yeah.
special because Scott Snyder is returning, and you it does feel a bit different.
Yeah, I don't think like since Rebirth maybe Rebirth I got really excited about just because you were weaving back in those classic elements of DC, um, and Lois and Clark and all that stuff. Uh, but yeah, it's been a while since I've been really excited, and this is just it feels fresh and like you. I don't. this isn't the book that I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to read the kickoff book here.
Sure.
But I like you, I'm excited about the start of this event. Hopefully, this will set the tone, and we'll know exactly kind of what we're going to be expecting once those new books come out and everything.
Which a
Um,
lot of them are coming out in October. There's others
yeah,
are scattered through other months, but October is
right.
gonna be a big one. But also, what I like to, with some of these other initiatives, they feel very overwhelming every month. They
Yeah,
spread it out pretty nicely, where it's like, oh yeah, if you want to try out Absolute Wonder Woman, here it is. There's not like 10 other books that's competing with Absolute Wonder Woman.
right. And I like the. I'm pretty sure they staggered like those three, Batman,
Mhm.
Wonder Woman, and Superman too. So you don't have to like get all three of them
Yeah,
that same week or anything. So that's good too. But yeah, I'm excited about both sides of this because obviously we have the main DCU where everything's going to be happening there, and then you've got the Absolute series, and then however they're gonna clash. Dark Side, it says Dark Side Returns in this book, so
it's been a
that's been
while.
kind of, yeah, and that's been kind of the one of the things we've been wondering about, like what effect he's going to have on this story, uh, by and large, and um, I don't know. He's seems like he's going to be the linchpin between these two universes, and I don't know. I just it's hard because you don't know a whole lot about like the absolute stuff, but at the same time, I'm just excited for it. So hopefully this book will shed some light and get us pumped up for those other books coming out.
I agree. I
Yeah,
think it's gonna be an exciting week. It seems like.
yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm giving this one a promisingly good. And that is it for those. So I do want to share very quickly some honorable mentions. These are some other first issues that are coming out. I'm not necessarily getting all of these, but I did want to make people aware that they're out. DC's I Know What You Did Last Crisis. That's just kind of like a Halloween special. So is Creature Commandos. Archie Halloween special. Again, another Halloween special. The Creeping Below issue
Apologies.
one. Yeah, the Creeping Below is a new series from Brian Azzarello from Boom Studios. I don't know much about it, but and I'm not a huge Azzarello fan, but if anybody out there is, check that one out. Barbarella, I didn't like the last volume, so I'm not getting this, but I know some people did. Obviously, they made a new volume, so there you
Oh,
go.
same creative team too?
I don't know if it's. Let me check it out. Let me look it up real quick. I'm not sure if it's the same creative team or not.
Yeah, I also am
While
not I don't know anything about the character, so I'm not, that interested in it.
yeah, I mean, I watched like the old movie back in the day, but when I read that first issue of the last volume or last series that came out, and I was halfway through it, and I was like, "This is just not for me," and I closed it and never went back. It's just not my thing, I guess. The creative team is Blake Northcutt and art by Anna Morozova.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if that was the same creative team on the. I don't think it was, but
Really
I could be
different
wrong.
stuff.
Yeah. Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes special for all the Ghost Rider fans. And then I Hate Fairyland number 16 is the start of a new arc. This book's been on hiatus for a while, and I'm actually behind. I don't think I read most of the last
Oh,
arc, but I still love this book.
I was gonna
And
say you love Fairyland, but no one's there to talk
yeah,
about it with you, so I'm guessing that's why you're like, "Oh, I'll put that
yeah,
off."
exactly. Yeah, I always read the books first that I know we're going to talk about on Comic Book Weekly, and
Mhm.
this one just kind of fell behind. I was getting it physically through DCBS for a while, and so they ended when I was getting them from DCBS, they ended up in a stack, and I just forgot about them. And so when I stopped doing DCBS, I was so far behind that I just never have caught up yet. So you know, all right. So let me take that away. We'll get back to our other layout here. And I just
Almost.
removed cat. uh, what did I do? I messed something up here.
I think I'm here. Maybe you hear me, but
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to take you off and put you back on.
let's
There
see.
we
There
go.
we go. That worked.
I don't know what happened there. All the issues of doing things live, I guess.
I mean,
All
look,
right.
I think it worked out pretty well for doing everything live, though.
Yeah, yeah, it was smoother than I thought it would be. All right, so these are some other books that are not first issues that I was going to shout out real quick that
Mm.
I'm also looking forward to coming out next week. Deadpool 7, you actually picked up issue 6,
Last
right?
issue. Yeah, and I'll probably
Yeah,
continue to see where it goes.
nice, nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it because it's just it's it's literally like my favorite Deadpool story I think I've ever read. That
I
first
was gonna say,
arc.
you don't
So
read a lot of Deadpool books that are like everyone's enjoying it, and it just seemed like very new reader friendly. It just seemed like a fun book. So
yeah. So yeah, I hope it continues to go that way. It looks like Deadpool might be dying, but we'll see what happens with that.
won't last.
Red coat number Red coat number 6. I believe this might be the last issue of this arc.
Oh,
It's
all
like
dark.
this,
Okay.
yeah, of the arc. I believe it's the big showdown between Redcoat and like this leader of this cult. That and his immortality is at stake. So we'll see what happens with that. We got Spider Gwen Ghost Spider issue number 6. Jessica Jones in this issue, so I'm
I'm
excited
excited
about
for
that.
this one because of that. Also, like, I don't hate
Yeah,
this series. I like it. I think it's one of the better ones from Gwen, but I also don't think
yeah,
it's one of her best ones. So it's just kind of
right.
like in the middle.
Yeah, and I'll take that because like the one where she interacted with like all the clones of herself, like
Yeah,
different
that's my
versions, like her
favorite.
as Dr. Octopus, etc. I didn't like that one at all. So I'll take this over something like that any day. But
I
hopefully, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
and we haven't no, I
Um,
was saying I agree, and we have an ongoing now, so that's all you can ask for.
yeah, exactly. So hopefully it just keeps getting better though. All right, so X Men number 5. I was like struggling to get another book on this list.
Yeah.
Honestly, X Men number 5, I'm kind of on the fence about. This I think is going to determine like whether I'm down with the direction this book is going or not. This
Same.
last
I
issue I
I
did
might
not.
actually drop it after that crossover if it doesn't hook me. Because I'm like, I'm reading enough X-Men books. There's a time when wasn't reading any X-Men books. I'll stick with Uncanny if I have to, and with Exceptional.
Yeah, I'm feeling that exact same way, and it's weird because like the first couple of issues, I didn't think I'd feel that way because I was starting to warm up to it, and then it just kept going in that same kind of vein, and it didn't seem to move forward enough for me. I guess is
Yeah.
where I'm at, or there's like a lot of mysteries behind it, but they're not like revealing anything. So it's like I don't know if I want to wait around until they get ready to talk about something. So we'll see. Nemesis Rose Gallery issue number 3. A bunch of fathers of victims are teaming up to basically hunt down Nemesis, so that's going to be interesting. And then Absolute Power number 4 is the last issue of
Somehow.
the series. Yeah, I know, right? It's so so quick. I could have sworn there was at least 5, but no, this is it.
Uh, it's a book that needs 5, which I never say about with events. So that's
Yeah,
weird to say, but I feel like it should have been longer.
yeah, that's crazy to say. Yeah, for
I'd
sure.
rather it be
But
shorter than longer, like it too long. So
yeah,
fine.
I agree with that. I still think it needed one more issue, but All In and Absolute are here, so I guess we gotta wrap it up and so we can make room for the new thing. So that's fine. But that's it. That's all the books that I have to talk about. Are there any other books that you want to talk about, or anything you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Let me see if I have a extra most anticipated book that you didn't chat out. Let me see.
Okay.
Um, Plastic Man No More. Issue 1 was really good. I'm excited for that
Yeah, yeah. Issue 1 surprised me. These like we've talked about before. The Black Label books lately with these other characters besides like Batman have been really interesting. Zatanna's been good. Plastic Man's been good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well.
No, other than that, no, it's one of those weeks that's weird because, like we were saying, there's not a ton of issue ones because we're building to that
Yeah,
October with a ton of issue ones. Um,
right.
but yeah, there's a lot of solid books that are out there. So a lot of books that are coming out in general, and it's a little less for me. I think I'm getting like 15, but that's still so much for my pull list.
Yeah, for you. Yeah,
I read it all one day too, so I
right.
last yesterday, no, 2 days ago. That was Wednesday. I was like really trying to read it all because I had other things going on that day, and then also was trying to read. And I was like, this is just not
Yeah.
happening. And it was like an hour later than I normally post because it just took a really long time to read everything.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. It wasn't that long ago. You only had like 7 books. Maybe
I know,
there might
and
have been a
somehow it
shorter week.
grew.
Yeah, that's crazy. It tells you how many books are coming out though, and
Yeah.
it's we got to start being a little more. Well, I got to be more picky with my pull list. It's killing me.
I, yeah, I think one or two books you could be knocking out.
Yeah, yeah,
The
for
X Men
sure.
will be one of them.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. So, anybody that would like to hear Kat and I and our other friend Mike talk about the rest of the books that came out this week, you might want to check out Comic Book Weekly next Tuesday night. Every Tuesday, or most Tuesdays, I'll say, we get together and chat for an hour and a half, 2 hours about all the comics that week, and we share our top 5 lists, and we talk about the industry news and all that stuff. So, definitely check that out. CBWpodcast.com for that.
Should be a fun show.
Yeah. And with that, that's it. Thank you, Kat, so much for joining me on my 1 year anniversary. I
Happy,
really
yeah, happy
appreciate it.
anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We were hoping Mike would join us too, but he had something come up and he wasn't able to join us. But that's cool. Things happen, but I'm so happy that we got Kat on here. And thank you for the few viewers that joined me in the middle of the day to watch the anniversary episode. I appreciate that, and everyone that's watching it post live. Thank you as well. With that. I'm going to let you all go. Hit that subscribe and notification bell if you like. Give me a thumbs up. Follow me across social media at Only Good Comics. And come back here next week where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks. Take care. Bye.